hypothetical viewers, and welcome back to Shining Force Final Conflict. It's been about 6 months since I played this. I am pretty rusty, and this map is pretty hard. So, I'm determined to beat this today. There must be some hope that we can do it. I'm gonna try and take out these bow riders on the side. There's a lot of choke points in this map, a lot of narrow passages. And there's also, it's set up so that there's a lot of enemies with ranged attacks that can hit you while you're there. So it's a very clever setup by Eiku, whose fortress we're invading. Good job, Eiku. But very unfortunate for us, the people who have to invade. We have to try and not get completely overwhelmed by these enemies because they also hit very hard. I think what's happening is that we have reached that point in the game where we're expected to be promoted by now. Except we're not, because I want to promote everyone at level 20 if I can. And so our characters are using weapons a little weaker than expected, and they are also not getting as much exp as the game might expect. And I can tell because I have promoted Cynthia and Knuckles, because they're the two magic users, so we can get them up to 20 much more easily. And they get boatloads of exp from these enemies. They clearly are the correct level. The rest of us aren't. She has so little MP that I'm gonna save it for healing. I don't understand why in this game they made the healers have such bad MP. Healers were not in any way overpowered and did not require a nerf. But the makers of this game nerfed them anyway. So now the poor healers are just in terrible straits. But look how little X we're getting there. You can really see it. So it's like, oh, you have 1 X from attacking this enemy. And I don't want to give Knuckles all the extra. Well, actually, he's one of the only ones who can get it, but I don't want us to get double beamed by these bow riders. Very well done. And look at that, he gets so much X. He's clearly at the level of the game where the game is like, oh, this is what you're supposed to be at, we'll give you decent X, but my unpromoted level 18s are not supposed to be here. But we will persevere. Hoping these bow riders will come towards us. I'm trying not to get into their range before we can attack them, because they can really hammer us. They deal a lot of damage, which we're about to see. Oof, at least that wasn't a heavy hit. I have seen them do 18 to 20 damage in 1 hit. And so then if you get attacked by both of them, you know, that's, for most of our characters, they could be killed in a single turn. We're not exactly packing a ton of high HP characters right now. We don't really have a tank in the party. These bow riders are not coming towards us quite as conveniently. And obviously the other monsters are also starting to get aggroed, so... Oh, this is gonna be a tricky one. It already has been. This is is this the 3rd attempt or the 4th attempt? It's been a few. I think this is I believe this is actually attempt 4. Man, that is... all of my ability to play strategy RPGs, which wasn't that high to begin with, has apparently leaked out my brain in the last couple months. I've been playing nothing but action games. I've forgotten how to be patient. Okay, I'm gonna have Cynthia just smack him. I won't have to use up her MP. Ah, dang it. She actually has quite good attack right now. So I was hoping. And the Mist Demon can get all of us in range with spells as well. We're in so much trouble. Okay, this should... I think he can take out the bow rider. Excellent. At which point we can focus on the Mist Demon. Did anyone get injured? Kiddo did. Okay, I'm gonna... This puts us in the worst spot for the Mist Demon's magic, but I'm hoping a couple of us can move before it moves, because I do want to heal Kiddo. He's in a bad way. Poor Kiddo is dies every time I do this map because I sent him too far into danger. Because he's so useful, and he can easily get over these walls and stuff to get into awkward corners where we can't hit anyone else, so he keeps dying. River Run is excellent. When we first got him, he took a little baby because he was a little weak at first, but he has rapidly become one of my most powerful characters, and he has 1-2 range. Love it. So good. Okay, we're doing better this time. Last time I tried to do this, I tried to target the bow riders first, but we got too close to them, and both bow riders could attack before we could retaliate. It was not good. We lost a lot of people. Oh, Sonette is very vulnerable. Dang it. that's like, that was more than half her health. I was really hoping I'd be able to move some of them before the Mist Demon attack. This is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt. We had to beat the bow rider though. The challenge is that we have so little MP on our healers that when we all get attacked like that, even if it's like, oh, it's not that bad, it's just chip damage, it's actually not that easy for us to recover it. Because then we have nothing for the later parts of the map. He can't really reach the bow rider, so I'm gonna have him start moving out. Just so we can position a little more easily. Okay. I gotta really focus here. Try and be a little more competent at this. I wish there was a way to get that box in the upper right with the name and level and stuff to not appear if I don't want it to, because it frequently blocks things on the map that I am trying to look at. God damn it. I really shouldn't bang on my laptop, it probably is audible on the mic. My poor laptop. I've put it through a lot. Everything is just, this is really frustrating. Because like these things are so powerful, they can kill us so quickly, and on top of that, we also can barely hit them? It's fucking terrible. Okay, bust an aura, and then that'll do most of her spells. I think she can cast, like, she has 11 MP left. She can cast, like, that and one heal level 1. Oh, she got 2, oh my god, this is epic. 2 MP, she's up to 20 MP. She can now use aura twice, and still have a couple heals left over. If only she could have that happen more often. Her MP is so awful. It's shockingly bad. I can go here, yeah, I think we'll be okay. Try not to cluster us up too much. Yes! Excellent. Critical hit. Excellent. Oh, this is already going so much better than the previous attempts. Okay, now to have everyone... who else was injured who didn't get in that heal? Mead still hurt. Okay, I'm gonna have Knuckles heal Mead, and then we can start regrouping down in the center there. So we can make our approach now that we've cleaned up these ranged enemies who could pick us off, which without us being able to retaliate once we're in the center. Oh wait, first we gotta kill this guy. The Ruberan can hopefully do this. Okay, it's pretty close. Let's see, one more. Sonette. We really have to kill it because it could kill Sonette. Excellent. Excellent. Very good. Whew. You can also see that they're giving 1x on defeat, which is why I have not grinded everyone up to level 20 and promoted, because we've really run out of enemies that will actually give us experience at this point. We gotta hope that the next map will have something, otherwise... well, either we'll have to give up, or we'll have to, I don't know, find something we'll still give like 5x, but just be patient. Wouldn't be the first time. I leveled everyone up in the other two Gaiden games, and as painful as it was, we did eventually manage it, so we could do it. Oh, as a side note, hypothetical viewers who've watched other LPs, I'm skeptical that any will exist, but on the off chance that someone does, you may recall that I could not figure out how to get the game to save correctly in Shining Force CD for Gaiden 1 and Gaiden 2. And so I just relied on save states. Well, I finally went back and worked out how to make a, most of the things I emulate have all been, like, handheld systems, which have internal saving, you know, they have battery saves. But the Sega CD, I guess, had, like, a separate RAM card for that or whatever, so you have to make a virtual RAM card and then save, which I eventually did figure out how to do. I didn't realize that was even a thing because of my tendency to only emulate handhelds. But basically, I worked out how to do that, and to get access the 3rd and 4th book of Shining Force CD, you have to have save games, like actual on the RAM card save games, not me using my save states of the first 2 chapters. So I have actually gone back and replayed both games in their entirety, so that we can access book 3 whenever this is done. And I also went back and level grinded everyone a lot more aggressively, so they're much higher level now. Because you use them again in the later ones. Some of them reappear. Man, every enemy in the game hates Kiddo. Does he just have the worst defense or something? Because they all want to murder him. Is he just just set to have the highest aggro? I genuinely don't know. Because I really thought they would attack Howl, who he's a tiny little wizard. He of course has bad defense. Ooh, Paige can actually get in here, and he's a little lower than everyone else in level because he's very slow. So it's hard to get him to actually into the battle. Okay, this isn't going so bad so far. We're going to still have some quite tricky parts of the map, but a big strength here is that these enemies have started approaching. If these enemies end up in here, that's much more doable. When they're stacked up here, in order for us to get there, we have to approach this narrow corner, right? At which point one of the mages goes here and attacks us, the other goes here, and we're in big trouble. Because we can also not bring our forces to bear. Whereas if they sort of approach us and come down to this more open area, we can have our full force attack them from, you know, we can have multiple people adjacent to them. So that will actually help us a lot. So hopefully, it will continue gradually marching over here while we reconvene in the center of the map. Just gotta take it slow and steady. That's the trick, slow and steady. I rushed too much in the other ones. I was not cautious enough. I tend to get impatient when I'm recording it because I'm like, oh, I want to get back to the part with the plot. But patience is well rewarded in this game. I'm gonna move him over to the main stairway because I don't want to have that shaman end up just bottlenecking the top of the stairs and then have these wizard enemies pile up behind him. And also the shaman can heal itself, so then we would just be standing there just attacking it forever. It would not work well. Okay, let's have Sylvia get us started here with a power spear. Very good. I do want to finish the shaman off before those other enemies approach, because having the shaman heal an enemy that we're trying to whittle down is really frustrating. And the shaman has a lot of HP, so it's actually not that easy to whittle it down. But hopefully we can make some progress on it here. Very good. Gosh, she's really very mobile, but not good attack. Of course, we don't have them wielding the better weapons yet, because we didn't promote them yet. Hopefully this will finish off the shaman. Very good. Shaman still gives a bit of X on kill, but that is because some of our characters are still level 17. The level 17 characters are getting a little more X. 18 seems to be a point where they kind of switch to not getting anything. So we're reaching that stage with most of them. And most of the level 17s are pretty close. So I'm not hanging around just to grind them, basically. I think we're just better off waiting for the next map, which hopefully will just have a little more enemy, you know, selection of enemies that we can grind with. And maybe this is also a little slow to get to some of the enemies, so maybe it'll just be a little more conducive to that. Gotta hope. Okay, gonna have her start off attacking this witch. Oh, I love the power spear so much. See, this maybe I should have waited a little longer, because now we do aggro them, but I also do want us to start getting some hits in, so we can get rid of one quickly and then only have one to deal with. Two wizards at once is quite a thing to fight. Oh, Sylvia's in trouble. Well, at least the skeleton doesn't do as much. The mages are the big danger. Julian position touch the witch, but she can start attacking the skeleton at least. The mage should be able to finish off the witch. He has the spear, but it does so little damage that it's not really worth it. Excellent. So now we just have to worry about one wizard. Cynthia has enough for a quick heal for Sylvia. Okay, that should pop her back up. Good. This is going much more smoothly than my multiple fail defense. I was more careful on this one. This does put us in a terrible position with the Mist Demon, but like, in order for us to bring our force to bear on the Mist Demon, we have to get the skeleton out of the way. It's unfortunate, but necessary. I'll just have him up here until we can get him in a good spot. This lot over here is not quite there yet. I do think we're probably going to get hit by the Mist Demon, but I wanted to get rid of the witch as quickly as possible, and, you know, it's kind of mess. Oh, huh, weird. It's not cast. We're all clumped up in like the perfect position for it to cast a spell. But instead, it decides to just punch Ben in the face for 1 damage. Sometimes the AI in this game is a little hard for me to understand. I just don't know why it does that. I'm gonna have her move and attack the Mist Demon because it's the much bigger threat, and she is one of our highest damage dealers due to the power sphere. Pretty much anyone should be able to finish off the skeleton, so... And the skeleton doesn't do very much either in terms of damage, so like a heavy hit was 3. So it just is not a priority at this point. Those enemies are starting to aggro, but I don't think we need to worry too much about them. I don't think this is a defeat everything map, I think we just defeat that Master Mage. Oh good, maybe me can, you know, level up or something. Maybe he'll get something out of this. Got 1x, but I guess not. The shaman must have been a higher level enemy. Oh well. Right here, the birds are quite... It's very easy for me to get the birds killed here, because you can end up putting them in a spot where a bunch of enemies are surrounding them, and you can't get your other forces close enough to help. But I will say, they're so helpful also, because they can allow us to surround enemies that we would otherwise only be able to attack with 1 or 2 characters. So like, I can't help but put them in danger, because they're way too useful here. Okay, got rid of the Mist Demon. So we are now in this little bottleneck corridor, but we have killed a lot of the things that could attack us during that time, so hopefully we can move our forces through safely and then attack this next group of enemies. This will also be a tricky part because those enemies are going to start aggroing as... Oh, god damn it. When enemies get heavy hits and double attacks, that can really mess us up because it can suddenly put a character into the danger range I was not expecting to end up in the danger range. Because it's... we really can't approach this without ever getting attacked even once, you know? Because we have to go through one of... There's a little corridor on both sides, we have to go through one of them. Maybe the other side would have been more optimal because... But then there is stuff above you, and then you can't retaliate against it. So it's kind of like no matter what you do, you have to get through this part. But I think we should be able to bring more of our force to bear pretty quickly. Even though some of them are still lagging behind. Okay, this does create a teeny bit of risk, but I think it's worth it. You know, this is sort of aggroing the enemies above us, but we do gotta get some damage on this bow rider. Okay, and then he can get above the bow rider. Yeah, we're getting there. One more attack should do it. Whose turn? She can't quite get there, but she can. You just barely afford... Who got attacked? Oh, actually, she doesn't use her 2 range. She can use the 1 range. With her slightly... With that extra 2 MP she got, she can cast like 1 extra heal. It's amazing. Okay. So that's good. That brings Ben kind of out of the danger zone there. And he can actually finish off the bow rider. Excellent. It's going smoothly so far. I don't mind if we lose some characters towards the end of the map when we're just trying to kill the last enemy, but if we lose them too early on, then the rest of the map becomes really hard. Moving everyone through the narrow corridor. I feel like this moment we're moving through the corridor really sees why this map is so difficult, because look how long we have to leave them vulnerable. Like, we can't get them out of that danger zone for quite a long time. Okay, those guys are aggroing too. We may actually have to fight them before we go into the boss. This may end up being a we fight everything map, even if it's not required to be, because everything is walking over to this. Woof, shit. That Hydra, man, that does a lot. Not bad in itself. He is also a tiny bit fragile. I don't want the shaman to just heal up the Hydra, but we can't reach him with both dudes. So maybe we can just blast the Hydra down really quickly. Power Sphere is great because it basically lets us get an extra person next to the Hydra. We don't actually have very many ranged characters. I think Sinette is the only archer we're ever going to get. I'm actually going to keep Mead down here just so he doesn't come into the range of the shaman as well. I don't want to expose him to too many attackers at once. Ooh, and we can have Cynthia heal him. This will be her final spell, unless I think Blast 1 costs 2, so maybe she'll use that. It'd be more efficient to just attack. Okay. Good. off the Hydra, hopefully. I think he should be able to do it. Excellent! Oh, this has gone very smoothly. This cautious approach is definitely the right one. Try not to have everyone get too close to the shaman yet. Okay, we're finally starting to come out of this corridor. There's a lot of enemies around the boss. I think we will have to deal with the Mist Demon and stuff approaching, just because they're going to be... Otherwise they'll attack us while we're fighting the boss, and that will suck a lot. Really don't need an extra wizard just murdering us. The number of wizards murdering us must be kept down to 1 if possible. I think the next couple maps are pretty much all just filled with magic using enemies too. This is why fighting the shaman can take forever, because it keeps healing. Which is fine if it's the only enemy near us, but if it's like standing at the top of the stairwell blocking us, it is actually pretty bad. But we should be able to take him out without too much difficulty. Just get more of our forces adjacent. Yeah, we only need like 1 more hit at this point. Now, do I want to bring everyone up here, or should I bring some people down here? I guess we might as well. Let's keep everyone together. Yeah, I don't want to split the party unnecessarily. That's not gonna be good. I think this should do it. There we are. Okay, got rid of the shaman. Shaman. It's kind of bringing everyone up here, so we're all in the same area before we start our approach for the boss. Okay. Oh, this battle is very intricate. It's actually really difficult. The final approach will be tricky though, because we have a whole pile of ranged attackers, and they're going to be able to attack us before we can attack them. Hopefully some of them will sort of approach us on their own. Let's just gonna approach in checkerboard formation here. Meat is a little fragile, so I don't want to get him too close. Maybe I'll just have him go up here. We're not close enough for the wizard to hit us from there. Really slowly. Really... Ah, yeah, we're good. We're on over. He does a lot of damage. Get our archer. I'm hoping we can kind of... Maybe the Mist Demon will kind of be lured closer. We can kill that before we go deal with the wizard. Howl has not gotten to do a lot so far. He kind of got stuck behind. The Mist Demon was a lot closer than I thought. We can survive this though. We can survive it. Ooh, Sonette. Sonette had lower HP than I thought. We definitely can kill her up. Especially since we have another wizard approaching rapidly. They're blasting the Mist Demon. Oh hey, Paige can actually get in the action here. Wow, he can do a great job too. He's really strong, he's just so freaking slow, he never goes in the turn. Eventually he'll reach all the way through, I guess. I'm gonna have the birds kind of go down a bit, so that maybe they can like deal with those enemies down there. Yeah, can't really do a lot. I guess I'll have her go down so maybe she can kind of come around the side there. And can start attacking the skeleton. Yeah, hopefully I didn't charge out too aggressively there, but... The kiddo start attacking the witch. That's gonna definitely be a good threat. Oh, and Knuckles can just pop in and heal up some, and that will help. I want her to be able to get in there and attack, but I also don't. Man, I wish heal healed a little more. She needs like 1 extra heal. And she can help out attacking this skeleton. And we can get to the archer behind it. Still in a vulnerable position here. Oh, this could be the end of Sinet if he gets a heavy hit. Damn it. The archers get heavy hits a fair amount. This is what I was worried about. We weren't able to kill her for full. Well, she did some good work. Did what we could. Oh, man. These enemies just, each hit is really rough. Man, instead of casting a spell, the witch decides to just back Kiddo with the staff. Weird. Have her attack this bow rider. Paige is getting in nicely at the end here. I guess as we're in a smaller space, so he doesn't have to walk as far. Doing some excellent work here. Paige is very close to leveling up. If he could even get like one more attack on something, he'll be 18 with the rest of the group. And I think Julia can hopefully finish off the witch. Only one less threat. Very good. Okay, we're definitely getting there. I'm gonna have Mead start beating up the Hydra. Ruberan, if he can get a turn, he can attack from behind. Cynthia can just keep walking over. She kind of has nothing to do at this point. She's all out of spells. And, you know, I don't necessarily have a spot for her to be attacking from. Kiddo gonna get in here and help with the Hydra. Hydra is dangerous. Even... I think we need to heal him right this second. I'm gonna have Knuckles actually come over and attack this Hydra. Because the other one's far enough down that I think our birds can kind of wrap it up. Oh hey, Minto can actually do something. Sure, cast freeze on the Hydra, why not? You might as well do something in this battle. You have to wiggle her tail before casting a spell. I mean, is that part of the magic? I'm not sure. Okay. This is... Hang in there, Ben. Oof. At least it didn't breathe fire. That's its most dangerous attack. Sylvia, finish off the Hydra. Okay, we're very close. We're gonna actually succeed through my much more cautious strategy of just waiting for enemies to approach us. We might actually do this. We're probably gonna suffer some loss at the end here, because this mage is gonna put on the hurt, but we'll make it. This is the point at which I'll just charge in, basically, because it's like, a few losses is fine, we just gotta win. This might do it. Oh, very close, we just need one more attack. Almost there. Almost there. Yes, Ruberan, do it! Finish him! Yes! Oh, this is very satisfying because, again, this is my 4th try at this battle. It wasn't... It's not that bad if you just go slow and like carefully approach without aggroing everything at once, but I tend not to be careful enough to achieve that. Okay, here we go. Wahaha! Shining Force, you've done well, according to the rumors. According to the rumors, we I don't know what to think about that, because we did well in this battle, but I don't know what rumors there could be about it because we killed every single thing on the map, so there's no one left alive to spread a rumor. Maybe he means the rumors of our previous victories. This is Eiku, or whatever his name is, by the way, the guy whose fortress this is. But you won't be able to progress beyond the fortress of the great Eiku. I shall take revenge for Magus. That's the weird goblin dude we killed. And you'll feel the pains of hell. Will we now? Then, what kind of trap has Eiku set for us? We don't know what it is, but we must advance. We must go forward if we are to find Master Max. Okay, robot buddy, in we go. I actually mostly know the voices I was doing for everyone because I did review the videos recently. Did anyone die? Yeah, oh yes, the net got killed right at the end there, yeah. The archer really hit her really hard. Those bow riders are no joke. But we only lost one person, that's not bad. Okay, let's save the game. And let's take a look at the map before we make a save state and head on. It's time to relight the embers. It is indeed. So now we're inside the fortress. I like the animation on the flames. It looks charming. Ben, this is an eerie fortress, don't you agree? Those stone statues almost seem to be staring at us. I can't see them because the screen is too small. Oh, I bet they're gonna turn into monsters for us to fight. Those statues mark your tombstones, do they now? There's Eiku, little dragon man. He looks like Ganondorf. You've done well to get this far, but now I'll stop you. You won't get your way, no matter what. And this place shall be your graveyard. What are you talking about, Eiku? We're going to get through your fortress and get to Master Max. Wahahaha! You're so stupid. Max is already... I've said enough. Enjoy yourselves in my terrible fortress. Terrible fortress is a fascinating way to put that, because obviously... Terrible, it's more archaic, meaning, you know, obviously drawn from its idea of something that it inspires terror, like a terrible foe or something, so it can mean that. But it can also mean terrible in the sense of, like, this is a terrible movie, like, it's really bad, so it's like, maybe his fortress is just a huge pile of garbage. He said Max already, so did they capture Max, or what? Max does, I'm pretty sure Max joins the party later, so he's not dead. Okay, let's take a brief look at the map. So we're in this fortress. Ooh, got some chests. So we got kind of this big open area down here. I'm not sure if these are going to like turn into something at some point. That would kind of remind me of that in Shining Force 2 we fought King Romladu and the little pillars turned into robots. Then we'll have to kind of go up to the second level to get the chest. And then we have Eiku himself. Let's go look at Eiku. 80 HP, dang, and 50 MP. Does he cast spells? He doesn't... Oh, he's got Freeze 3. Interesting. So he's kind of a sword mage here, and he can certainly cast it quite frequently. He will be tough to kill. We're gonna have to fight our way through a lot of shit, and because it's basically just a big open area, it's a lot of it's gonna attack at once. So we've got more bow riders and mist demons. And we have a new enemy. We've got the Executor, which is just a sword-wielding enemy. I'm gonna hope that that will give us more X, and we can actually grind on this map. Maybe the Master Mage will give a bit. But with this many Master Mages, so I think this is going to be... We're going to have to do some level grinding, if we can, and get this chest. And then we'll come back to kill Eiku. But for now, thank you for watching, hypothetical viewers, as I finally managed to break into Eiku's quite well-defended fortress. It's time for us to finally go toe-to-toe with the weird blue dragon man himself, and see if we can defeat his army, or if this will indeed become our graveyard. Next time on Shining Force Final Conflict.